I'm Tim Hooper.
And I'm Mike Gandolfo.
And this is The Trust Factor,
where high touch
plus high tech
multiplied by high trust
equals the real estate professional's formula for success.
All right. Hello, everybody. And first off, I'm Mike Gandolfo, and I want to thank everyone who joined us last Saturday for our live. That was our third live already, Tim. I cannot believe we've gone through 3 live events.
Crazy.
It is crazy. The next one will be March 14th. And all you got to do is go to our YouTube channel, and you will be able to interact with the show, ask questions. And it's just a really good way to make sure that, number one, that we're hitting the mark, like we're resonating with people.
Yep.
But we're also delivering what you want. So I love interacting with the audience and answering those questions. Do you?
Oh man, I love it. And I think our second one really took off. The first one was like, hey, here we are. Second one really took off. Third one was power. So thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for the questions. And Mike, it's interesting. You told me this week on the phone, you said, hey, so-and-so came up after an event I did. And she was just talking about the show and what she's getting out of it. And that speaks to our hearts because listen, this is in the trenches to the trenches. We haven't retired. We haven't hung up our cleats. We're out here having to evolve ourselves just like y'all are having to evolve yourselves. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm just like, this is crazy to me. This is our 16th episode already, and really just what's kind of uncovered for us as we've gone through this path.
Yeah,
and I was playing around with it, and we talked about being high touch and high tech, obviously multiplied by high trust. But we're gonna focus on the metrics, the matrix today between low to high touch, low to high tech, and kind of give you 4 different archetypes. So really, this is going to be a great way for us to review, I think, what we've already done with this podcast. But hopefully you as a listener you're going to recognize that you're in one of these archetypes and probably one of the 3. And we're going to try to get you to the high touch, high tech archetype. So that's really what it's all about, right? Because we want you to have that winning formula, and then we're going to help you build trust and all those other things as you listen to the show. So let's dive into it, man.
Yeah, and I think sometimes too, until we're aware, of where you might end up, you don't realize you're in a certain archetype. It's kind of like getting a personality profile. Like, oh wow, that makes a lot of sense. And it says, here are your strengths, and you're like, that's awesome. And then you're like, and here are your weaknesses, and you're like, yep, that's awesome too. Although that's a harder pill sometimes to swallow. But I'll tell you, the best improvements in my life, the more money I've ever made in my life, the more leadership roles that I've actually succeeded at, and I've failed at a lot. But that whenever I've done better, it's because of looking at, not trying to fix weaknesses per se, but being aware. Because sometimes weaknesses are this is just part of your DNA, but it's how do you fill those gaps? How do you hire for those gaps? How do you at least be aware of them so that you can build a system and build and protect or bolster that area of weakness. And so this will be a great mirror, I think. And none of these are wrong. I think some of them we find ourselves in all these quadrants at times. And so, let's talk about how we get to the archetype of choice.
Yes. All right. Well, let's start with the let's start with the low tech, low touch archetype. This is an archetype we're going to call the gambler. Yep. And we're calling them the gambler because basically they're taking their business by chance, right? There's no real vision of where they're going. They have no idea really of what's going to take them there. They're just kind of existing in the space. And I think this person's probably dealing in hope a whole lot, right? Like this is the person who's like, oh, I'm going to show up for work today, and I hope the phone rings, and I hope that this happens, and I hope I get leads, and I hope I get business. And, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. They're gonna stumble across a deal, and they might try a little bit of this over here, and they might try a little. I'm gonna work some open houses. I'm gonna partner with a lender and do this over here, but they get no real traction. Yeah. And because of that, I think this is the person who leads to that statistic that we see amongst real estate agents all the time, that 85% don't make it 5 years. And lots of times because, hey, I'm going to be real honest. This person comes out of the fact that most brokerages are playing a game where they want to see if you're going to sink or swim before they invest in you, if you're going to figure it out.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Listen, you're Italian.
I am.
Do you throw spaghetti at the wall
to see if it's ready?
Yeah.
So that's, if people don't know, that's kind of the trick to see if spaghetti's ready. You throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. I have before. I would tell you that with my high level of cooking prowess, I would do that anymore. So I've not cooked for you yet.
No,
but when
yet.
I do, just be ready.
So when we grew up, and I think maybe it was like an old school thing that maybe the new generation is too bougie for. It's like you take your fork and you like cut it, and if it snaps, you could kind of tell by the snap ratio. But my mom, man, growing up, she would take the noodle, and we had spaghetti at least twice a week. I mean, it was easy. A lot of noodles, a lot of sauce, and a lot of
mouths to feed.
So she would take a noodle, whop, and it would like tumble down the wall. And she's like, nope. So we had like noodles, and then every now and then we had to climb up and get the noodles off, the ones that stuck. But I feel like that's the gambler, right? It's like, okay, Mike said real estate's fun. Now, what they didn't realize was Mike was like a 25-year overnight success or overnight success that took 25 years. And so it's like Mike makes real estate look fun. I could be able to do real estate. So you get in, you don't ask enough questions. It's more, I call the gambler a hobbyist a lot. You see a lot of hobbyists. It's like, I'm going to do this
part-timer. Yeah.
I'm going to do this part-time. If I could just make, if I could sell my own house, if I could just sell my friend a house, well, you never build systems and processes that way. I'm not saying jump in with no runway. That's not what I'm saying. But do you have a plan? Like, I'm going to do this for 6 months part-time while I work myself out of this because that is my thing and I'm passionate about this. That's how I think the mind for the gambler, more than processes, I think the mindset has to shift, but they stay low tech, low touch because you're scared or because you don't know. You just don't have the vision to go build like what is a touch system, and then low tech because who's going to invest in when you're doing 2 deals?
Right.
I talk about BombBomb with some people. They're like, BombBomb is great. Wow, you showed how to use BombBomb. And this is not an advertisement for BombBomb. There's VidReach, there's Loom, there's a lot, but I use BombBomb. And so, oh man, BombBomb's great. So how much is it? I'm like, well, through my company, my partnership, because I know BombBomb well and they love me, $375 a year. What? Oh, that's too much. And I'm sitting there going, how is $375 a year too much? Now, don't get me wrong, VidReach or somebody else might be $200 a year, but even then it's like, oh, I couldn't do that. Or do Chat GPT Pro, bro. And they're like, oh no, $20 a month. You can't scale if you're just the hobbyist or if you're just gambling. Like, you know what? I don't need the systems. I don't need them. I'll just wing it. I'll just make it.
Well,
CRM,
I think that's the case with the low tech on both low tech archetypes we're going to talk about, and we'll talk about the next one, the other low tech one next. But they look at those tools or those tech tools that you have to have a little bit of investment into, but they look at them as an expense and not an investment. And if you can't figure out how to take the tool and how it's going to help you make money, or how it's going to help you do less of the $20 an hour work, and so you can do more of the $200 an hour work. That's the thing you have to look at it that way. It's good to be cautious with your operating expenses, but you have to put money into something for you to get a maximum output of money coming your way. So I think that's so true. The question I have for you though is we just kind of went through what it looks like on the realtor side because that's what I know. And I think to a certain degree of even what it looks like on the lender side. What's it look like to the title person though? Do you find title people who are gamblers? I mean, when you're working in title, you've got a little bit more of a business structure around it. So I'm curious, do you see that in the title world?
Yeah. So the business structure is there, but I think the way we approach business development is oftentimes the gambler. Oftentimes in this industry, and we talked about a whole nother podcast on like joint ventures. We went there and had that conversation, but I felt like that's where the gambler shows up. oh, we have this joint venture with this brokerage. And so, if I just show up, if I'm just there and present at the sales meetings, those agents will buy from me. And what I find is the capture rate for the gambler, you could just go look at your capture rate. It's really low, because we're taking for granted the fact that something on paper is going to derive or is going to replace the need for having a high skill set on the touch and relationship side and a high skill set on the tech side. And the biggest opportunity that's missed, I believe, for the gambler is your agents who are serious are outgrowing you. And so therefore somebody's going to come along and challenge that agent with some high tech strategy or some high or demonstrate some high touch. And that agent is drifting away, even if it's a joint venture. And then that's also how joint ventures fizzle, by being taken for granted. So whether you're JV or not, I feel like that's the gambler, where I see the gambler show up a lot. But again, lack of CRM, lack of systems and processes. That you would be shocked, Mike, in the title space, how few title companies have a CRM.
And same on the real estate side, actually.
Yep. And then how many in the lender side, how few use a lot of lenders have a CRM. How few actually leverage it. I know we're going to talk about another archetype soon that leverages CRM all day long, and still misses the boat. But anyway, let's keep going on the low tech side.
Yeah. And kind of following up on that CRM side. And so this will lead us into the next archetype, which is going to be what we're calling the Martyr. And I had a friend, he's a friend, but he's a good person, another person that I coach, an agent that I coach one-on-one, who had the opportunity, got a referral from an agent who used to live in his market, still has his real estate license, but he's mostly retired and now living in another state. And so we talked about approaching that agent and saying, hey, let's do a joint communication to your clients, and we'll basically set you up a referral fee for anyone that comes in, basically help me hand your business off to me, and I'm going to make sure that you maintain a license and get referral fees. And so they did it, and the guy's like, well, I don't really have a list of my clients. I don't have a CRM. I don't have that stuff. And so This goes to the person who's high touch, but is low tech. This is the old school, press hard. There's 3 copies. I don't know if that's true anymore or not. Did you ever, by the way, you're so much younger than me. Did you ever use carbon copies? Yeah. Okay. All right.
I started the workforce in 2006, and we were still receiving. I was purchasing manager. So the shipping to receiving department, oh man, that delivery driver would show up. Yeah. He kept the pink copy. You had to sign, right? The yellow copy went to the office, and the white copy was for the purchase. It was for the receiving department. And I'll never forget, man, tearing that little side. It was that holy paper.
That's how I wrote real estate contracts in the beginning. It was the carbon copy, and you knew which one turned into the office and which one you kept.
Press hard. 3
copy. Yeah. Wow. So we get the whole high touch person, and I think the biggest word that comes to me with this high touch, low tech person is, man, this person's majoring in the minors. And it comes down to the idea that they just cannot surrender because no one does it better than they do it. They got to make sure it's, they are the ultimate bottleneck in their business because they're too afraid to hand off anything or modernize anything. They've got their way of doing it, and it works, and they're not gonna do anything to make themselves more efficient. They're not gonna hire someone. If they hire someone, they don't really know how to lead that person. And it's pretty crazy to me because I think there's a ton of realtors, at least, that are very much stuck. And I would actually think there's probably a ton of title people that are stuck in this world of, I'm not going to have someone else do this because no one does it better than me, or no one does it like me. And that's probably true. And they probably shouldn't do it like you either. So,
well, I think you're 100% right. So, I see, I have this story will crack you up. So my dad, growing up, we would, we had a mission overseas for U.S. service members, and to fund that, we came back to the States, and we went around and we spoke at different faith organizations, churches, whatnot. And now our whole family, we sang. And so we would get on stage and sing. That's really where the support came from. And then my dad would get up and speak. But no, just kidding. But anyway, dad was a logistical nut, a little OCD, honestly, but he was a logistical nut. And when it comes to a campaigner, in fact, in the Myers-Briggs, Jen and I just took Myers-Briggs last night. We never did Myers-Briggs. Now, I don't know if you've done a Myers-Briggs, but did a Myers-Briggs. Mine's the campaigner. So Jen's like, this is so you. But mine's the campaigner. And I'm like, I come by it honest. Dad was a campaigner. But to be effective and to actually follow up and like ask for the support, ask for the fundraiser, you had to have some level of organization. And I'll never forget this other, this other fellow missionary, if you will, sitting down with my dad. And my dad was he's burned out. He's about to give up. And he's passionate. I mean, he's passionate about going to the Philippines. He was passionate about going over and helping these homeless people. And he's passionate about what he wanted to do, but he couldn't go. He didn't have enough support. And he sat down with my dad, like, hey, Mr. Hooper, and my dad was like, well, how many people, how many churches are you reaching out to? Like, that was my dad's thing, like his number. And the guy was like, well, and no kidding, he pulls out a brown paper bag out of his, like, he had this like big duffel bag briefcase. He pulls out a brown paper bag with all these like church brochures, business cards. It was kind of like all of his contacts were in there, and he like dumps it out. And my dad just like blew a gasket. My dad is opening up. Of course, this is back before Excel even existed, but my dad's opening up his manila folders, and he's like, has everything organized by zip from like, that zip start at 0 on the East Coast and go to 9 in California. Everything was by zip. He had his templates that he would send out to the like printer with all the mailing addresses. His address book, his mailing list was the number one thing my dad obsessed about. And then when we came back, he would figure out how to go to we did. We went to all 48 states 2 times, and we only came back 2 times because we had too many kids. But we never lacked for support. And so we weren't rich, but we never lacked for support. And so I tell that stupid story, but that one guy was a martyr. The one guy was a martyr. He held on to this paper bag and all those people and like that. And dad automated enough. Now dad showed up. We came back 2 times and we never failed for support. Dad showed up, but dad was actually probably too much techie, where we didn't zoom in deep enough with certain people. And that came back to haunt him later. So we're going to talk about high tech, too much high tech later, but because we did become the spammer, but not to jump ahead, but that's who's next. But low touch or high touch, but low tech, you will burn yourself out.
Yep.
You will burn yourself out. So do you have a paper bag full of contacts, or here's that paper bag nowadays, Mike. It's Facebook, social media. You're just doing all this stuff. You're in all these groups. You're commenting on all this stuff. There's just no plan. High touch, you're doom scrolling. You're in it. You know all your people, but you really don't know all your people. You don't know where they're at in the stage of home ownership or home buying or selling or buying. You don't know where they're at because you're so high touch, very low tech.
We on a recent episode, we talked about a tool called Manus, and I have now created a Manus that will allow me to batch all of my social media that I'm going to do for the week and measure its performance. And so then on a daily basis, I can have a 15-minute window where I post what I've already created, and then I go interact with 3 to 5 posts, and then I'm off. Like that's what you're talking about, right?
That's
so
the system. Yeah,
that's the system.
That's the high tech. Yeah.
And so the martyr on that point too, like I just want you to, if you are recognizing that your growth is because you are in the way, like everything kind of gets to you and then slows down. You are the bottleneck. And this includes me to a certain degree.
Yeah. All of us. Then
you have a little bit of old schooler in you that you need to kind of get out of the way. The martyr, get off the cross. We need the wood kind of deal. Like you got to figure out a way how to get yourself out of the way. And then for me, it's been with my staff. Like I've had to tell them a couple times, like, just go screw up. I want you guys to go. You all like literally need because of the work that, and I don't say this to them because, I don't want to downgrade what they do for me,
right.
But they're doing the $25, $30 an hour work so I can go do the $200 an hour work. So they literally have to screw up like 7 times or 8 times an hour for it to even be worth it for me to pay attention. And generally their screw ups are still moving us in the right direction, right? Like, don't ask me for approval. Just, I do say this. Do you all understand the vision? Do you understand where we're trying to go? Do you understand the skill set and why I invested in you and brought you on the team? Then go do it. Like, I trust you to go do it, and do not allow me to be the bottleneck.
Yeah. I think the Martyr, unfortunately, we've bought into some of there's some systems out there, I think, that are still kind of the old school system. And here's what the Martyr might show up and look like. I show up in your office and it's like, so Mike, what's that book on the back of your shelf? Or it's like, Mike, yeah, I really like, it's just, it's like I'm obsessing about the things that don't really matter to you necessarily. I'm like, I'm still going for that. Let me identify with Mike. Let me make sure Mike is friendly with me. Let me make, like, I'm obsessed about your hat or something about, and you don't really care about it. It's like, I see that still happening, where it's like, it is all about relating and finding common ground and all this. And I'll tell you something that's a little bit better than that, because the common ground and relating will happen. Like, naturally, as humans, we get to know each other. Oh, your kid goes over there. Oh, wow. You're going to find that out. When you try to obsess about that because you're afraid, actually it comes from a fear. If I don't get enough common points, if I don't get enough relationship with Mike, then he might not like me. He might not work with me. So I need to be really relational. I'll tell you one about, if you lead with vision, and vision always stems back to because if you don't know his vision, you're going to have to ask. And that's the most uncomfortable thing, is ask a question you don't know the answer to. Go do that, because what's going to happen is it's going to lift you into something. Mike's like, yeah, you know what, Tim, all I need is boom. And you're like, wow, that actually has nothing to do with me. That has everything to do with my team, my process, and my system that I built. So in high stakes selling, I'm asking questions. I'm learning your vision. And then it's like, dude, Mike, like, I have a whole AI think tank that we've put together. Like, I would love to schedule something with them, with you. And I'm literally selling the team every time I open my mouth. The relational, the Martyr, and I'm not saying relationships aren't good. Relationships should happen, but the Martyr tries to bake a relationship within 30 minutes. And that's not even real. And so I think we still have this like Tommy boy. We still have this like
JoJo the Idiot Circus.
We still have this mindset. Yes, it's like we still have this mindset that if they don't like me, they won't do business with me. I have a lot of companies, Mike, that work with us that don't actually like me. And I'm okay with that. So, you know what I mean? Like, how many people own a Tesla and hate the founder? I mean, so you lead with more vision, because when you come to that broker's office, let me take this back to title for a second. You go into that broker's office and you've not been there for a little while. But every time you come, you're sharing something they all need. You're sharing something of value and vision. And you're saying, hey, reach out. Hey, guys, I have this for you. Reach out. And they're all like, whoa, magnetized to you, because you're leading with value and vision. So much better when you're just sitting there trying to talk to every single person, and you're just, oh, I got to just be on, and I just got to make sure they all like me. And dude, that is a rat race. That is a treadmill. I do not envy being back on. I've been on it. I still get on it from times when I have to delegate to my, mortgage folks. Your loan officer assistant can do some of the stuff better than you if you just give them a shot. But you are stuck in your head to say, I'm meticulous and it's all about the details and I don't ever want a mistake. Go back to what Mike just said. You gotta let the new rising stars come up. That's called multiplication.
Yeah, totally agree. And the thing about the scarcity too is like, with the old schoolers, like, well, what happens if that other person does do it better than me? Where's my value? Whatever else. And so they've got to always, the old schooler has always got to be thinking, and we keep on calling the old schooler, the Martyr has got to keep on, 80-20 what they're doing, so that they eventually 80-20 so much that they're like in the top, 4% of really what needs to be done is what they're doing. Just like going to the dentist, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I use this analogy, you go to the dentist all the time, because you're at the dentist office for an hour and a half. You're with your dentist for like 7 minutes.
Yeah, if that. Yep.
But I know my dentist's name. I don't know the name of the dental hygienist or the dental assistant or the receptionist, and they're all awesome. They all add to the experience. They all actually laid the groundwork for a really positive experience at our dentist. But my relationship with my dentist, he comes in, he does only what he can do, because he's, he doesn't do the stuff that the other, he can do all the stuff that the hygienist and all that stuff can do, but he comes in and does the stuff that only he can do. And he makes a couple key connection points, builds rapport, and then he's out. He's on to the next one. And what you just said was so, like, not trying to go so deep. I think I do this, by the way. Go so deep and get to know someone so well in the first, like, 30 minutes of meeting somebody. What happens, though, is, like, you've got nothing really to bake out for the rest of the time. Like, the whole part of having a relationship with someone is kind of discovering along the way, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can actually hit, and I teach this in the sequencing that I do on our sales trainings. It's every bit of this is built into it, but you could actually fry something. It's like putting 60 amps on a light. You just blow the light. Like you could literally fry it too soon. Like you need to warm up. But the thing is, what excites people and attracts them to you is shared vision, shared value. So real quick, and I think we'll probably make this a two-parter, because I know we're talking about the low tech side. So the Martyr, 85% failure rate, or I'm not Martyr, I'm the Gambler, 85% failure rate. I think the Martyr has a great success rate, but they're bottlenecked. They have a great success rate with a few, but they're bottlenecked. The other thing is the Martyr has very low boundary. They don't know how to set boundaries. The other thing I'll say with this is, you might feel like you're high tech, and I want to go here real quick, because you might be hearing us and saying, oh, I'm not just high touch, I'm also high tech, because man, I take my phone to bed with me, and I'm always, and guys, I'm telling you,
available.
I've coached way too many of you, and it hurts my heart just to tell you this, but you can't always be available to truly be available. You can't always be available to be truly. If you're always available, you are the Martyr. It's not you're high tech because you have the newest iPhone and you know how to run it. That is not high tech. That's actually low tech, because you don't have systems built to give yourself space and availability. Number one, availability for yourself, so you can watch how you think, watch how you act, watch your triggers, watch where your soul is running away on you, watch where your body and mind are disconnected. Like, you need to be able to give yourself availability first. But also, where are your healthy boundaries to say, hey, Mike, like, with my 4 kids, usually I shut things down around 7 when we get to dinner and whatnot. Listen, if anything ever comes up that's a true emergency, for my best clients, like, ring my phone twice. It's plugged up by the coffee pot, but I get going at 5 earlier in the gym, and we'll usually on a weekday, that's how I get going. You can call me or text me. I'll try and get you ahead of the 9 o'clock rush, or whatever. Have your business hours conversation with people, and you know what you're going to do for your clients? Okay, cool. Me too. Or they're going to say, like, yeah, that's perfect. That works for me. And they're going to know what time to call you, and you're going to learn what time to call them. Set that up right away. Because if I go look at a business and I want to go get a haircut, what am I looking at first on Google, guys? When are they open? You're a business. You need to have that conversation. And that's how you'll become less of the Martyr, because I'll tell you, the Martyr also never has time for themselves.
And you can't set those boundaries like once you're in the middle of the transaction. You got to set it at the very beginning. Say, hey, you can call and text me anytime you want, but just know I answer messages between this time. Because the reality is, if you're always on, you're never at your best.
Yeah.
And if you're never at your best when you're dealing with someone who's making the largest financial decision of their life, as well as the place that's so important for their mental health and emotional well-being, because this is where they're going to do life, and you're never at your best with that person, that's true. All right. You said we're going to make this a 2-parter. I think that's the best way for us to do this. So we just touched on the on the low tech archetypes, right? The Gambler and the Martyr. And we're going to come back in the next episode and get into Tim kind of alluded to it already. This is the high tech, low touch person, the spammer, and ultimately what we all want to get you to, that multiplier, right? The person who is high tech and high touch. Yes. So we'll see you next time on Trust Factor.
Take care, guys.
The Trust Factor podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. You can even watch us on YouTube.
And subscribe to the channel so you can comment and drop your questions and share it with your team.